It's really, really important for you as a business owner to be really careful about what you say before you get someone to sign up to work with you. Hey there, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Conscious Counsel podcast with your host, Cory Sterling. That's me. I hope that you're doing awesome. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I'm really excited to share a fun episode with you. As always, my intention in recording this is to give you information to help you protect and grow your wellness business with both confidence and clarity. That's my mission. That's what I want to do. And each week for the podcast, soon I'm going to start bringing on guests, which I'm really excited about. But in the meantime, I continue to share stories of things that I go through with my clients. And when I'm going through these things, they're all very, very normal things that I think most health and wellness entrepreneurs don't think would become a legal issue, but then it blows up into a big legal problem. And you are out there in the world running your studio or running your retreats or running your coaching business or doing whatever it is that you do, and you never think about these things. And the reason why I record these episodes and why I share the information is because I just want to turn your mind to the legal possibilities of things that happen. I've done this for a lot of years. I have a lot of experience. I've seen a lot of things. And a lot of the times I see the same things repeating themselves, and they're pretty simple and they're not so difficult to fix. And that's why I take my time to record this. So this week, I want to talk about an interesting concept at law, and I'm going to share a story that I'm going through with one of my clients, and that is misrepresentations. This is the most heavy legal term I'm going to use, but false inducement to enter into a contract, which basically means like you tell someone, hey, I'm going to do this for you if you enter into the contract. I'll do this particular thing, and then you enter into a contract, and then the contract is binding. But legally, what happens is, if you say to someone, hey, I'm going to do this for you, and, if you sign the contract and then they sign the contract, and if you don't do the thing, the contract can be voided, or it can be null and void. And that's because you basically made someone a promise and said, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And because I'm doing this thing, you agree to be bound to the terms of the agreement. But all of the agreement is contingent upon you actually doing that thing. And this is just like, if you think about law as just being normal, and if you think about law as being the rules that society puts in place so that things can function and people can run businesses, and there's an element of fairness to what's happening in society and in the world, this makes perfect sense. Like, it should not be allowed that if you say to someone, hey, I'll give you $15 if you buy this thing from me for $100. And then they buy the thing for $100 and you don't give the $15, so long as the person who paid the $100 could say, well, I never would have done that if they didn't offer me the $15 back. And that's fair. It's only about fairness. It's only about equity in these particular senses. So it's an interesting area of contract law, which is like where I've spent all of my professional career really working as a contract lawyer, a small business lawyer. And it's a small little thing that like rarely comes up, but it came up interestingly enough for me. And so I want to share about the story that I went through with my client, some observations, and also some practical tips that you can use to make sure that you are not on the opposite end of this, where maybe without realizing it, you make a promise to someone, you say that you're going to do something, and then you don't do it, and then you end up at risk of having the contract nullified or losing a lot of money, or someone claiming that they're suffering damages. So this story that I'm going through, the client has a health and wellness business, and they purchased a piece of equipment or machinery that was very, very, very expensive. And firstly, they did not read through the contract before they signed. And to me, what's crazy is like, people will sign agreements, they'll sign leases for sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, and not really, really read or negotiate the contract. And in this case, I think the principal amount for the machine was like $90,000 total. And this person did not hire a lawyer to review the agreement for them, which for me, I don't understand. And it's just the classic scenario, pay me now, pay me later. Like with law, you can be organized up front and be prepared and invest at the beginning to have things go smoothly. Or like in this situation, you don't hire a lawyer before buying something for $90,000, then there's an issue or problem around it, and then you need to spend a lot of money, throw a lot of money at the problem to make it go away. And in this case, my client was purchasing this piece of equipment, and the salesperson said to them, okay, cool, if we move forward with this today, you have to pay a deposit, and the deposit is, let's say, $10,000, and within 90 days, we'll give you the deposit back. So it's sort of like, okay, give this money now, enter into the contract, and then in 90 days, we're going to give you the deposit back. Very, very straightforward and simple. except that they never gave the deposit back, and they never gave the deposit back, and time went on and time went on and time went on, and they never gave the deposit back. Now we're in a situation where my client is paying me to get that, firstly, to have the contract nullified and to make sure that all monies that they paid for this particular machinery get returned back to them. And it's challenging. And it's like the reason why it makes sense to hire a lawyer before you sign the contract is because it is much easier to negotiate terms and hold people accountable towards certain things before you sign the contract and before the money goes out. Once the money's out and once the contract's signed, your leverage is minimal, especially when you're going up against a bigger company with big legal counsel that is a huge corporation, a big well-oiled machine, versus you, who's just like the small solo entrepreneur who just like invested a ton of money into this thing, and now you're not getting what you want, or what you were promised isn't coming to you. And legally, it's a clear-cut case where it's automatic for me to say, well, we have text messages and promises saying that if my client paid the deposit and moved forward with the contract, that within 90 days, this sum would be returned, and it never was. We have text messages, we have emails, we have proof, unequivocal proof of the person saying, oh, I know, I'm sorry, I said that I promised you this, and I didn't do it. And now we're in the process of recovering, which again is time consuming and expensive and stressful. And all of this could have been avoided if I had an opportunity to review the contract and work with my client beforehand. Now, a couple of interesting things. One is, what's interesting with the company that we're going against, we've actually found 2 other examples where they've done this to other people as well, which gives us more leverage in saying to them like, hey, this is common practice of what you're doing. And in the event that we need to pursue an action against you, it looks very badly on your company that you lie to people in order to get them to purchase things from you. So that's one thing that's helpful. So anytime there's more than one situation, we can show that it's just not a one-off. That's helpful for our case. But the big thing that I want you as the listener to be aware of about false inducements is you have to be careful about what you say to people when they're signing up. And I went through a situation with a yoga studio in the past where they made a promise to one of the members. They're like, well, like, look, if you sign up, even though we're not supposed to, we're going to include towel service for you for the year. And then like 3 months in, there was a new manager, and the owner obviously didn't know about any of this. And the new manager came in, saw that the person didn't pay for towels, didn't give them towels. And then this whole false inducement thing came up. And so it's really, really important for you as a business owner to be really careful about what you say before you get someone to sign up to work with you. And a lot of the times people just want sales. So they'll say, oh, you know what, look, I'll give you extra support. I'll give you extra this. I'll give you extra that. And in the event that you do that and things don't work out, or that you change afterwards, or the person becomes a really demanding, challenging client and you don't want to give the extra services, you have to be careful that someone's argument could be, well, I only entered in this agreement because you promised me these particular things. So I want you to be aware of that. And then the pro tip and the takeaway from this situation, what I want for everyone is like, have everything in writing, crystal clear in writing. So as an example, for me as a lawyer, sometimes when I'm working with someone, they'll say something like, okay, well, is it possible for me to extend my edit period? Normally with Conscious Counsel, you get 30 days to edit the agreements. Someone will say, I'm not really starting yet. Can we go from 30 days to 60 days for the editing period? I always just put in an email like, hey, really excited to work together. You asked for this special request. I'm happy to honor it. The reason why I do that is that A, it's a lot easier for me to remember what I said to who, and because I'm always having conversations with people. But B, it's good for you as a business owner to know that, like, okay, if there's a problem, like if I don't honor the 60 days, that person can nullify the whole contract, even if I've already done the agreements. Because they could say, well, I only entered into the agreement because you promised me this particular thing. So for me, what's most helpful in my practice is anytime I make a promise that's outside of my normal scope or anything that's outside of my service agreement, I'll always have a separate email to be like, as a reference, like, hey, awesome. Before you signed up, we agreed that we were going to do A, B, and C extra. I promise that, you're going to have a great experience working together, and we're going to do it, and it'll be perfect. And then sometimes it does happen where someone on the team will say, oh, your support period has expired because they didn't know, and they'll check in with me. Hey, Cory, what's up with this client? Can I help them? I'll be like, I'll check my email. I'm like, yep, cool. This is what we said until this particular time. So I hope that, that this information is helpful. And again, I'm just going through a challenging experience with my client who's not having fun and who's spent a lot of money and who was lied to and feels like they were treated unfairly, which in truth they were. And so my intention in sharing this is just for you to become aware of any promises you make to someone before they purchase your product or your services. And in the event that you do make a promise outside of your normal scope, to make sure that it's written down so that you can recall it. Because the last thing I want is a studio to have, someone come in, use the services or sell your services, and then there be an issue or some contentious moment around whether or not you actually fulfilled all the promises that you made. Plus, it's just like it's automatic, strong legal position. If you make a promise and you don't keep it, that's a get out of contract free card for someone. So I hope that you find this information helpful. I hope that it's enjoyable for you. Follow us on Instagram at Conscious Counsel. Shoot us a note, say hi, say that you listen to the podcast and that you love the information. You're looking to get the best legal practices, and we'll be able to support you. And whatever you do, make sure you work with a lawyer who loves you. Peace.